Hey, so have you ever stopped and taken the time to examine your expectations and figured out where they come from? A lot of times you can tell if you have unrealistic expectations by the times that you're disappointed. So perhaps a Christmas holiday didn't turn out the way you wanted it, and you were a little bummed and disappointed and sad about it. And maybe your expectations were unrealistic. I don't know. But like, okay, take for example, this is a story of in my life. For prom in high school. So that was, I don't know, 30 some years ago. And so I wanted a certain dress, and I knew I had a picture of it in my mind. I knew exactly what I wanted, and it wasn't one that you could just go and buy off the rack. So my mom found someone who was a seamstress, and we had it made. It was exactly the way I wanted it. It had the bottom of the dress came up just with little bows on it, just the way I wanted it. The bodice was made the way I wanted it, the sleeves, and I just felt like a princess. So you fast forward about, I don't know, 20 years, and my daughter and I are watching Cinderella, and there's my dress, my dress. I'm like looking at it, and it was the very first dress that Cinderella had made, the one that got ripped apart before the fairy godmother made her the other one. And so apparently I had seen the Cinderella movie at the theater when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and that dress made such an impression in my mind that years later, when I was a senior in high school, that was what I wanted. I could not have told you where that dress came from. I would have told you I just made it up in my head, and that's just what I wanted. But in reality, it was put into my head years and years before that time. And sometimes that's what happens with our own expectations, especially around like holidays or vacations or big events like that, where we might have seen a picture in a magazine of a Thanksgiving dinner of a family, and somehow that imprinted on us a certain feeling or a certain look, and in our mind that's what we think of as a successful family Thanksgiving dinner. It could be a movie we saw about a family vacation, not that family vacation movie, because who would want that, but that's how simple it can be. But it's not really that simple because we don't remember where that expectation came from, but we know that in our heart that's what we picture it to be like, and that's what we want it to be like. And when it doesn't go our way, we get disappointed. This can happen in big ways too. Like if you are a step parent and you are blending a family together, it is not going to look like the Brady Bunch right away. And it can take years. So we call it a blended family. Like we stick everybody in a blender and turn it on, and voila, we're all mixed together in one big goo. And I don't see it that way. It's more like a crock pot mentality, where you take the meat and you take the vegetables, and it has to simmer, and it takes a long time. And each piece is still an individual piece, but the flavoring is all together. I don't know if that helps explain it, but I do know with blended families, with step families, it can take 2 years at a minimum for families to feel connected and to feel normal, and it can take up to 7 years. 7 years is not abnormal for step families to feel cohesive and to get their groove going, I guess. I don't know, but sometimes we put our expectations on situations like that shouldn't be there. Like we aren't being very realistic. I know that above all, you're going to want to focus on the relationship. And I know that in my house, that's one thing I had to start doing, because I wanted my home to be an open home, and that meant I need to be okay with people coming into my house when it doesn't look nice, when everything isn't picked up and clean. And I have to be okay with the fact that I'm really not a good cook, and right now actually I am okay with that. But I will feed you. I can always put out lunch meat and sandwich fixings, or I can fix a couple casseroles, or something like that, but nobody's gonna rave about it, and that's okay. So I don't know, examine, I guess, your expectations, see where they come from, and just remember that, when you are Christmas holidays and Thanksgiving holidays and summer vacations, and everybody that shows up has their own expectation of what they want it to be like, or what they want to happen, or even just the overall feeling they want to get from that time together. And if everybody is coming together with different expectations, guess what? There is no way everybody's expectations are going to be met exactly the way they want them to. So we need to take that into account, and we need to really make sure we're focusing on people and make sure we're focusing on the relationship between and among people, more than the expectation of what an event would look like, or even what it would feel like, or what we feel like we need to accomplish during a certain event. So just take a little time, and especially as summer vacation's coming up, and just see if your expectations are realistic or if they're unrealistic, and just see what you can do about that, okay?